Soto is right in the Great Rift Valley, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's very lush and rich during the rainy season. But one thing about this area is the spiritual warfare. We talk about how our battle is not against flesh and blood and how we are constantly combating Satan and his evil forces. But here in America, it's cloaked by all the materialism and all the noise that we have. But in Ethiopia, it's not. You can feel the oppression. It's like nothing I've ever experienced before. But at the hospital where I worked, when they have high-ranking officials in the hospital, they have their respective priest, whether it be a satanic priest or a Christian priest. And so then the opposing priest always has to come as well. And so they yell and scream at each other. And it's very much a personification of the battle that is going on in the world around us all the time. So it was a really eye-opening experience for me to be there and see and feel that oppression that the satanic forces oppress us with. Anyway, so one important part of what we did was the people that we came in contact with, we would tell them that Satan has been defeated, no matter what's going on right now. The blood of Jesus has conquered Satan. So in the end, he is going to be done for. So we would do a lot of praying with the nurses and with the people that we worked with, just praying the blood of Jesus over everything. We would pray the blood of Jesus over the hospital and the missionaries and all the ministries that we were working with. It was really good for those people to understand that, because this is just a way of life for them, and how they can really realize that it's not the result is not that Satan is in charge. One thing I love about Ethiopia is the gorgeous people. I don't think there's an unattractive one in the whole country. They are amazing. Here's just some shots of some of the pretty people. This little guy is a goat herd. Isn't she cute? This is something I had to get used to. The Ethiopian people as a whole are very affectionate. They're always touching each other. And this is totally friendship. If we saw this in America, we would think it was something totally different, but it's not. They touch each other, they hug each other, and if they love you, you know. And once you get used to that, it's a really beautiful thing that they are free to show affection to people. Here's a sarbet, or a grass hut. This one's pretty beat up and old, but somebody really did live in it. Here's a further away shot of a couple of them on one piece of land, and the plants that you see next to the left are called enset, which means false banana. And it's called that because of the banana leaves. It looks like banana leaves, but there isn't actually any fruit on it. They actually break off pieces of the bark off of the trunk, and then they bury it in the ground. And then 6 months later or so, they dig it back out once it's fermented and all nasty looking. And then they use it for porridge. And they eat fermented bark. And they're so hungry that they just eat whatever's available. It's pretty sad. Here's a more prosperous home. The richer people will have two separate buildings, one for the kitchen and one for the main living area. Here's a kitchen. They have them separate because they cook with fire and they don't want smoke to fill up the house. Here's a woman working in her kitchen. Ethiopian food. The staple food is injera, and if they have money, then they will be able to buy teff to make injera. And it's basically lentils and teff all mixed together with water, and then stir it up and then let it just sit and ferment for about 5 days. And then you cook it and make just a flat pancake out of it, which is the injera. So it has the little holes in it like sourdough, and it tastes a lot like sourdough, but not quite. It's not quite that good. It takes some getting used to. And here are some kiddos who are eating their injera, and they put the different watts on it, sauces, it might be meat or vegetables or whatever. And so you break off little pieces of the injera and then scoop up the wat, and then you just eat it with your fingers. These are my parents. They were actually there with me for a few weeks this summer as well. And we got invited to Mabrat's house. She's the one in the side view there. And she cooked a full Ethiopian meal for us. And then we had the coffee ceremony, which coffee was discovered in Ethiopia. So it's a huge part of their culture. Whenever they have company over, they always end it with a coffee ceremony. So the whole ceremony, you start from the raw beans. And you roast it. Then after it's all black and roasted, you grind it. And then after you ground it, you put it in a coffee pot with water, and you put it on the fire, and it gets hot. And then you pour it into these little tiny cups. They're like shot glasses or espresso, little cups of espresso, and it tastes like that too. It's pretty thick. And brutal. It's you're exactly right about that. It takes some getting used to. And it's not filtered. So the person who gets the very bottom, the dregs, gets, half their cup full of the grounds. It's pretty intense. And then, of course, you have to add, 6 or 8 teaspoons of sugar as well to make it palatable. Even the Ethiopians do that because it's pretty strong. We didn't eat Ethiopian food every day. This is pretty much what we ate. We had a beautiful garden in our backyard area and a wonderful gardener who took care of it for us. And so we ate vegetables pretty much every meal. We all lost some weight while we were there as well. But if we didn't feel like eating our vegetables, we would make other random things too. This was one of my cooking adventures. I made some pumpkin pie and then some peach meringue pie. My roommate liked when I did that. And we had it for breakfast the next day. It was pretty fun. And when we didn't feel like making our own food because it took hours and hours to cook over there, because everything is from scratch, we would go into town and kind of splurge a little bit. This smoothie cost about 3 birr, which is about 30 cents. And we could sit, it was in the tallest building in the whole town, so we could look down on the town. It was pretty cool. But one day we went with my friend Kara and then one of the missionary wives and her 2 kids. Well, her little Benjamin, who's 12 years old, got his smoothie, and it had a family of 4 beetles in the bottom of it. So we sent it back and asked for the vegetarian variety.